Jesus, this is hard. Alrighty. Yeah, so basically what you want to do is get rid of all the resistors that have the 4R7 on them. So look at the picture that I posted about it, or yeah, have a look at the picture and see what resistors you want to get rid of. Okay, so first off, we want to get rid of the resistors. I won't do it on all of them. I'll just do on one or maybe two in order to show, depending on how long time it takes. So first off, you want to take a big goop of flux. Yeah, I'll go for one of the hard ones. So put a lot of flux on it. And clean your tip. You don't need it to be very hot. If you can adjust it, then I don't know. I'm at 340 right now, but yeah, it doesn't really matter. What does matter though is that you need a big, oh shit, you can't see that. You need a very big glob of the solder on it. Be very careful not like hitting one of the other resistors, because then you're in trouble. So on top of it, try to, you see that? So I got rid of the resistor. The resistor is stuck to my iron like this. So what I do now is I go ahead and like scrape it on a piece of wood. So basically just get rid of it. I mean, you'll never use it again, so just get it off the iron. Okay, clean the tip. And next step is the next step is to use some solder braid to get rid of the lead-free solder. Easy place to braid on top. Whack it down with some of the braid. Not sure if you can see, but the pads are getting flat, and yeah, you can see that the solder is gone basically. So next up, you basically want to go ahead and add a tiny bit of solder if you need to, or flux if you need to. So go ahead and dab a tiny bit of that on. Oh shit. Yeah, don't be as sloppy as me. I'm basically running out of flux, so I'm just using the last bits that I have. Okay, a bit of flux. Clean off the tip. Grab some solder. Pull it out. Tin the tip. And dab it on the pad. Oh shit. I'm in such a weird angle. 1 second. But yeah, basically just stab it with the soldering iron. Not sure if you can see it, but just hold on top of it. Just for a few seconds. Make sure that you have solder on. Okay, so this is a good example. So you can actually see that just one of the pads is tinned properly, and the other one is still flat. And if you look at my screwdriver, you can see that. Yeah, you probably can't see that, but you need to have solder at the very edge of it. So, and right now I don't, so I'm gonna go ahead and clean that. Try to grab some solder and try to have it flow so it's coating the tip of the soldering iron. And again, I have to lift this up in order to actually put this on, but come on. Okay, I'm done with that. Not sure if you can see, but yeah, it should be sort of like two pillows kind of sticking up. And when you're done with that, next step would most likely be to add some flux, depending on how much you have it. And because I don't have any flux left, basically, I'll use that a tiny bit. Oh well. Ooh. Yeah, don't use the Vesc itself to move around the flux. Don't be as sloppy as me. Okay. Grab the reel with the all the resistors on it. Take one out. What I'm basically doing is taking one of these X-Acto knives, and it's coated with a tiny bit of flux on it, and that helps it stick a bit to it. So I'll try to, just put that on there. Like so. And next up, not sure if I can do this on camera or not, but I'm cleaning the tip, adding a tiny bit of solder on it, or a bit of solder on it, like so. So what I'm doing next is quite important, because the resistor will kind of stick to the soldering iron, and I can move about it and position it. And then I'm using the X-Acto knife to place it. Oh shit, it's not focusing. That's because I'm moving the tips. Oh, whatever. Yeah, so the resistor will kind of suck to the soldering iron, and we're using that to position it properly. So pushing out that. And when I have it positioned correctly, I'm basically stabbing it with the X-Acto knife. And now you can, you probably can't see it, but it's sort of like, you can see it's a bit shiny on one side, and on the other side it's just dull and flat, and you can still see the original sort of like square-ish resistor look to it. And what's important is to grab your X-Acto knife or your tweezers or whatever, and try to push on it. Push on the resistor and try to move it. And like you see, I can't. Even though I try to move it, it's still stuck to it. So, and what that means is that the resistor is basically stuck to the pad properly. So what I'm doing next is, you can see that because I'm talking so much, you can see that the tin on the soldering iron is starting to become dull and gray, and that is because I'm burning off all the flux. So basically cleaning the tip, retinning it, and what I'm doing is I'm trying to get sort of like a big pill on one side. Not sure if you can see this, but I'm trying to have like a pillar on the bottom side of the soldering iron, so I can just sort of push it on top of it, and the solder itself will sort of conform around the resistor itself. So I'm just trying to place it on top. Oh shit. Yeah, you don't want to have too much, because then you'll lift up the whole thing. Okay, this is basically back to zero again. I will stop talking now. You might want to jump ahead a few seconds. Clean the tip. Get some solder on there. Push on top of it. And yeah, hopefully it should be 10 now. Yeah, hopefully I can't really see because I have the camera in the way. But basically what I've done now, I've tinned the both sides. And in order to test to see that it's stuck down to both pads, I'm using the iron, and I'm heating up one of the sides and sort of pushing it at the same time in order to see if it's stuck on the other side as well. So I'm starting with this side, and I'm pushing it. And like you can see, it stops. And what I do next is I'll go from the other side and do the same thing. Ideally, I should rotate the whole thing in order to do it, but so I go on the other side of the resistor, and I heat up that side and push it towards me. And you can see it's still stuck there. I mean, the soldering iron stops to it. And that's very important to check every time you solder a resistor to see that it's stuck on both sides. So basically just heat it up on one side and try to push it. Heating it up on the other side and try to push it. And if it's stuck to the, and if it doesn't move at all, you know that it is stuck to the pad properly. Okay, a few other things. What happens if you happen to get some of the other components stuck to your soldering iron? That will happen a lot. What I would do is be prepared for it. First, you want to know that that's a big thing. If you stab the soldering iron and you'll lift up another component, try to get it off as soon as possible so it doesn't heat it up too much. I mean, the resistors, if you get those stuck on it, you can always grab a new one, but chances are you don't have these components in stock anyway. So, and yeah, it will be a hassle to sort of look up what component it is and yeah, get it ordered and all that. So what I would suggest is have a plan B. If you manage to fuck up and get one of the other components stuck to your soldering iron, have something to scrape it off quickly. So have like a wooden block or a knife or something to scrape it off quickly. What I found is a knife like this, if I try to scrape it off, it will sort of just move over to the other side of the soldering iron. So let's say that I got a component stuck to this side, and let's see if I'll grab something to demonstrate it. So here you can see I have a resistor that I found on the on the floor. It's stuck to my soldering iron. And if I want to get rid of it, sure, I can push on it, but chances are, now I got lucky and it got stuck to my knife. But chances are that it will be stuck to your knife and you're pushing on it and it's sort of just moving around the iron. Have a plan B, have something you can push it down. The best thing is to have a wooden block they put the iron down on, put it down and scrape it off. All right? So always have a plan B, so don't panic when that happens and be prepared for it, because otherwise you will mess up some components. And I've found that I've had components stuck to my iron for like, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 seconds and they're still fine. So, or I've used them and they've been fine this far. So, so that's one thing. Another thing is that if you get some solder on the on some other components that you're not supposed to. So let's say you get some solder to, oh shit. Come on. Let's say that you got some solder on your DRV chip or something else. What you want to use is basically just clean off the tip. Grab your solder wick, heat it up. You might actually want to grab a larger tip for that, and you might actually also want to raise the temperature if you can. Heat it up, try to get rid of most of it. And then you have to get in closely and really look at it to see if it's still bridging or not. None of these pins should be bridging on any of the components, not the DRV chip and not the SH30 or whatever it's called. So yeah, that's basically it. And what you want to do in order to clean it is grab some alcohol and sort of flood the board. So grab some alcohol, kind of flood the board, let it sit for a few seconds. Grab some alcohol. I'll grab a toothbrush and sort of start brushing on it. It's a bit of a messy job, but and we'll get it clean in the end. And what you want to do then is grab like a piece of paper or a heat gun, or what I usually do is actually grab my compressed air and blow some of it off, then go on and then grab like a rag and get the rest of it, and then I take my heat gun and just blow on it for like just a few seconds to help it evaporate. But yeah, sort of go over the ESC with the toothbrush. And again, go in, double check, see that nothing is bridging. You can actually see that the DRV chip is still bridging. And go over all the solder joints again and see if they look good or not. And it looks like they do. I'm just going to go ahead and try to get rid of the bridge. I'm not sure if you can see it. It should be, try to have the phone focus. And now it's gone. Yeah, and you can see it's nice and clean. No bridging. And that's basically it. Then you need to cover it with some heat shrink, or yeah, I guess you could actually use some packing tape or whatever, just for until you wait for some new heat shrink. But ideally you want to get some heat shrink so it can handle the high temp, or Kapton tape would actually work as well, but it will get like gluey and messy and nasty. But yeah, that's basically it. You do that for all the components, and yeah, that's it. I would advise you to maybe try to solder on a dead piece of board first in order to get the hang of it. And like you can see now, the board is not fully clean. You can see it's still like a bit nasty, so you might want to go over again, dry it up, hit it with some more alcohol, and then clean it up again. So yeah, and that's it.